Hi, wet ninjas. Welcome to episode 3 of Vocabulary Hunt with Honorable Patrick Obayagbon. Now, in this episode, just like we've been doing before, I'm going to be playing a short clip where Honorable Patrick is speaking, and we're going to chunk out some of his wonderful, gigantic vocabularies and look at the meaning and sentence examples of the words. Let us get started. Vocabulary Hunt with Honorable Patrick Obayagbon, episode 3.
Now to our bidding studio, Honorable Patrick Obayagbon. Yes, the question whether the unity is negotiable has always been there. Now, is our unity really a burden for us, judging from what different opinions that have been coming across? In the last 3 days, people have talked about leadership, people have talked about structures, and other means that we need to actually do to stabilize our nation. Is the question for unity a burden, really?
Of course, it will bother any compos mentis Homo sapien who is a Nigerian, But let me start by saying that the forced origo for why Nigeria is today quagmired, or if you like, quarantined in a labyrinthian bind, or if you further like, a cul-de-sac of Penelopic disunity and instability can be traceable to a vaudeville of reasons. But if you give me the indulgence of time, I will race through about 4 or 5 reasons with ceaseless staccato. And we cannot begin to dilate this topic without first of all tracing the reason to what I would like to stigmatize as the challenge of our historical colonial legacy.
Now we've heard our own vocabulary Arnold Schwarzenegger. Alright, without wasting our time, we're going to chunk out some of the words he used. Now, because I wouldn't want this episode to be lengthy, I'm going to be breaking it into 2 halves. So this one is going to be the first half, and later on I'm going to drop on the platform the second half. So from this snippet, we have about 10 or 11 words that I would like us to examine, but for the first half we're going to take just a few words. Now the first one is Fonset Origo, Compos Mentis, Quagmired, Quarantined, and Labyrinthian. Now the first one, Fonset Origo, happens to be a Latin word. Fons means source, et and origo, origin. Sentence example, we have the ancient texts were considered the Fonset Origo of the mystical tradition. They were considered the source and origin of the mystical tradition. The second word is Compos Mentis. Now, this word is quite simple. Mentis has to do with mental faculty or reasoning or rationality. Compose, composure. Okay, so in this context, it means sane. Refers to someone's or a person's mental capacity to make rational decisions or judgments. So when he says compos mentis Homo sapiens, he is referring to humans with the capacity to reason, or humans who are mentally composed. Sentence example, the lawyer questioned whether the defendant was compos mentis at the time of the incident. That is, whether the defendant was mentally composed, whether it was sane, whether it was it was rational, or it was in a reasonable state of mind. Now the next word is quagmired. Quagmired. Now the word quagmired is coined from quagmire, or let me say it relates to quagmire. Quagmire is a complex situation, a precariously complex situation. So now it is used as a verb, quagmired, meaning that trapped in a dangerously intricate, difficult, complex situation. For example, we have the team was quagmired in debt after the sponsor pulled out of the project. The next word is quarantined. Quarantined. This is quite a common word. Okay, so what does it mean here? Quarantined means confined, isolated, sequestered, often to prevent the spread of a disease. All right. An example is the passengers were quarantined on the cruise ship after several cases of illness were reported. And the last word is labyrinthian. Labyrinthian or labyrinthine. Now, what does it mean? Simple, extremely complicated, or resembling a labyrinth, maze, puzzling path, or networks of road. Now, the word labyrinthian is connected to the word labyrinth, and the word labyrinth itself has a historical, mythological significance. We can trace it as far back as old Greek mythology about a man known as Daedalus who built a maze for the king of Crete, and that was King Minos of Crete. Now, this labyrinth was the house of a Minotaur. The Minotaur was basically half human, that is half man, half bull, and once you get into this labyrinth, you couldn't get out unless there was a guide or someone or something. In fact, then it was used to torture, or it was like a kind of hell for people that have been condemned. So they were sent to the labyrinth to die. Once they got in, they would get caught by the Minotaur, and that was the end. So an example here is the tax code was so labyrinthian that even experts struggled to interpret it. Alright, we've come to the end of the first half of episode 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and turn on the notification button. Thank you for your time, and do have a lovely day. Bye.